Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile. I don't know if you knew this, but anyone can get the same premium wireless for $15 a month plan that I've been enjoying. It's not just for celebrities. So do like I did and have one of your assistants switch you to Mint Mobile today. I'm told it's super easy to do at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, equivalent to $15 per month required. Intro rate first 3 months only, then full price plan options available. Taxes and fees extra. See full terms at mintmobile.com.
This Steve Jones Show podcast is now loading. The Steve Jones Show podcast is presented by Sunbury Motor Company, Purdy Insurance, and Brewers Outlet.
11:15, Hummels Wharf Online, sunburymotors.com. Time now to talk about the Preakness, which takes place tomorrow at Pimlico with Dick Jerardi. DJ, welcome back, sir.
Thank you, Steve. Final Preakness at the old Pimlico. We're going to tear the place down, rebuild it, and be back in 2 years.
Laurel, does Laurel get it?
Laurel gets it next year. That is correct. And then back, hopefully. They're saying they're going to be ready in 2 years, and I hope that's the case. But, yeah, the building now was built in the 50s, and it's outlived its useful life. So it's getting knocked down. Tomorrow is literally the last day at this particular site. The site will be the same, but just it will be a new modern building when the Preakness comes back.
Right, like Belmont Park, what they're doing there.
Exactly the same. Yep, same deal.
All right, so before we get to the race itself, Dick, you and I have talked about this many times, about the structure of it. Kentucky Derby, 2 weeks later, Preakness, 3 weeks after the Preakness, it's the Belmont Stakes. There'll be no Kentucky Derby winner. Sovereignty, the ownership, and the trainer have decided to bypass this. Do they have to rethink the structure of the Triple Crown to ensure a better possibility?
Yes, yeah, for sure. I've been saying it for, 10, 15 years.
Right. Yep.
The whole sport has changed. My analogy is like pitch counts in baseball. They just don't run these horses that often anymore. The only time the top horses in the sport are asked to run back in 2 weeks is during the Triple Crown, which is kind of silly, right? I mean, things change, so you got to adapt to the times. Look, a guy like Baffert, he doesn't care. He'll run his horse back in 2 weeks. And he's had 5 Derby winners who ran back 2 weeks later in Preakness, and every single one of them won. So it's not like it can't be done. But a lot of trainers just don't want to do it anymore. That's why you see this is the third time since 2019 the Derby winner hasn't run in the Preakness. So, yeah, it's time. And I think, Steve, what might happen is, so NBC has the rights to the Derby through the early 30s. The Preakness rights deal with NBC ends after next year's Preakness. Fox now has the Belmont Stakes.
That's right.
And Fox also has a big play in New York. They're part of the Naira Bets, which is their betting system. They have horse racing on FS1 or FS2 from New York every day of the week. So they're going to have some interest in bidding on the Preakness. Let's deal in the reality here. The Preakness is not worth nearly as much without the Derby winner.
That's right.
And the Belmont is not worth nearly as much without a Triple Crown on the line. So somebody's going to have to ensure that we have Derby winners in Baltimore and potential Triple Crowns in New York. So the way to do that is, I think Fox is going to make a big play for the Preakness. And if that's the case, then they're immediately going to say, we're moving it. Because we want, A, we want the Derby winner, and B, we want a chance for the Triple Crown. I think NBC still wants to make a play for the Preakness, but I think their play would be similar. They're going to say, look, we'll do it, but we got to find a way to move these races. 4 weeks to the Preakness and then another 4 to the Belmont. I suspect it's going to happen within the next couple of years. And then if that's the case, then you're not going to have the excuse we don't want to run in 2 weeks. I think people would run in all 3 if they had enough time in between.
Well, 2020 they moved the races for obviously pandemic reasons. The Belmont, if I recall, was the lead race.
Correct. Belmont, Derby. Belmont was fairly early, and then the Derby was like around Labor Day. Yeah. Then the Preakness was a month later. So, that's the other thing. I mean, the 2 weeks, 3 weeks has been around since 1969, but it wasn't always like this. And there were times when the Preakness was run before the Derby. Yep. But again, the big thing is you got to change with the times. The sport has changed, do you really want to have this keep happening, where the Derby winner is regularly not running in the Preakness? I mean, this is the marquee event in the sport. I mean, it's the one thing everybody pays attention to. So, yeah, it needs to be changed. It needs cooperation. The TV partners will be a part of it. But I do hope that within the next couple of years, Steve, we'll get it changed.
Journalism, Michael McCarthy's going to run the horse again this time through. He will come out probably, in all likelihood, as the favorite tomorrow. Just the thought on journalism in this race, especially considering that he and Sovereignty did battle down the stretch. He had a shot at it.
He did have a shot at it. I thought in the Derby, a couple of things worked against him. One, I don't think he loved the sloppy track. When you watch him run on a fast track and then that, Steve, I just didn't think his action was the same. He looked a little uncomfortable. Yeah. And the bigger problem, more so than that, was what happened at the start, where Citizen Bull took the right turn and kind of just put the horses to his outside, including journalism, much farther back than he would have been otherwise. Positions everything in this game. I thought, and Michael thought, he'd be like fifth coming out of the first turn. Instead, he was 10th. Yeah. I thought he'd be like 5 lengths off the lead. Instead, it was 10. So the energy he had to use earlier in the race that they wanted, I think probably cost them at the finish. That's not going to happen with a 9-horse field. You go from 19 to 9. The traffic issues shouldn't be there. I think he's the best 3-year-old. I think he's better than Sovereignty. You know, right now Sovereignty would be ahead, obviously, if they were voting, because he won the Derby, and that's fine. Sure. He ran great. But I think he's the better of the horses, and I think he's going to crush this field tomorrow. And he is going to be favored. I like an exacta. I like the 8, Clever Again, to be second. If this is going the way I want it, Clever Again's going to get out there on the lead, and at some point, journalism come run him down. In a perfect world, journalism wins by like 4. Clever Again is second by 4, and I'm celebrating at the 8th ball.
Right, you got it. Yeah, exactly. I think Clever Again won the Hot Springs Stakes, right?
That's correct, and was really impressive doing it. And it's Steve Asmussen, who's no stranger to winning big races, and he's won the Preakness twice with 2 horses who ended up being the horses of the year, Curlin and the great filly Rachel Alexandra.
Yeah. All right, so Bob Baffert, he's won 8 of these as a trainer, and he's won 17 Triple Crown races. 8 have been in Baltimore. He's got Goal Oriented, who's run twice. And your thoughts on that? Does he get automatic respect because Baffert's training him?
Yes, and I think he's got talent, too. I actually thought his first race, Steve, was better than his second race. He won on Derby Day on the undercard, and he was fine. He won. But his maiden race, when he won at Santa Anita, I thought was dazzling. When you watch it visually, and 3 horses out of that race came back to win the next time. So I do think he's a contender. He's going to have to get faster. But so I was hanging out at the track yesterday. I see first person I run into is Michael McCarthy, which was great. And I actually went. He says, "All right, you're coming with me." We walked over to the paddock so his horse could know what's schooling in the paddock, or just to get used to what it's going to be like on Saturday. Went over there right before a race yesterday. And then the next person I run into is Baffert, who's telling me, "You're not going to believe what happened to me this morning." I said, "What happened?" He says, "I left the hotel, the Four Seasons, naturally," and he says, "I went to Starbucks, and I came out, and I locked my keys in the car. It was one of these courtesy cars." I said, "Bob, you can't lock your keys in the car anymore. It's impossible." Right. These new cars. He said, "But I did it." I said, "Great." So he was like an hour late getting to the track yesterday because he locked his keys in his courtesy car.
Oh, only Baffert. Oh, my goodness. Sandman's back, too. If I recall, Arkansas Derby winner. Your thoughts on Sandman being a part of this mix?
One of the ownership group is West Point Thoroughbreds. Terry Finley, who's a Bucks County guy, went to Truman High School, West Point. Great guy. Actually was the guy who bought Flightline and was part of that operation, and they all made big money on that. Yeah. Good guy. I will root for the horse. I just don't think he's good enough, Steve, and he comes from so far back. He was 18th in Kentucky. The good news is he can't be farther back than 9th in this race early. Right. But I don't like these horses that come from 50 miles behind. Can he get there? He could. I think he's a cut below, certainly cut below journalism. Could he be third, something like that? Yes. Don't think he can win.
Give me a couple horses that get to the lead early in this thing.
Yeah, if I'm reading this right, Clever Again to me is the fastest horse in the race, the 8. But the good news is I don't know that he has to have the lead to run well. I think he could run well anyway. But boy, I'd love to see him get a clear lead. Yeah. I'm interested in what I was asking Baffert about this yesterday. Goal Oriented has the rail. He has some speed. He wired his field in Kentucky. So I said, "Are you going for the lead?" He said, "Not necessarily." So we'll see what he does. American Promise has speed. Ran in spots in the Derby, was up near the hot pace and just hit the wall at the end. I would think the 1, the 3, and the 8 are the horses with the most early speed. And River Thames, the 6, is not far behind. River Thames is a fascinating angle here. So this is Todd Pletcher, who's never won the Preakness. You have 5 trainers in here that have won the Preakness, and he isn't one of them, which is kind of hard to believe. He's over 10. The issue I have with River Thames is he just almost beat the Derby winner in the Fountain of Youth. He lost by a neck. And then he ran a really good third in the Bluegrass. He had enough points to be in the Derby. And Pletcher lives for the Derby. He didn't run him in the Derby. He's waiting for the Preakness. That never happens. Right. So I'm questioning how good this horse really is if he didn't put him in the Derby. Because Pletcher doesn't wait around for the Preakness. His whole program is all about trying to win the Derby.
Look, this is all about, look, let's face it. This is the animal, okay? But Flavien Prat is going to be aboard Goal Oriented. Does that give you any kind of like,
Stevie's one of the best I've ever seen.
Yeah,
he's so smart.
The day we were at Santa Anita.
Move. Absolutely. Yeah, anytime he's riding anything that's a contender, it's like an automatic upgrade. There was a famous story years ago from NBA scouts. Like whenever, like Dean Smith's North Carolina teams, whatever you thought of them, add like 5 spots in the draft. Yeah. That's go 5 spots higher than you think he should go. That's how Pratt is. He's that good, and there's a lot of very good jockeys out there. I think he's way better than everybody else.
If I remember our day at Santa Anita, Pratt was 3 for 3.
Yeah, he was whatever money we salvaged that day was. It was all our man Pratt. I think we lost a couple dollars, but we had good action that day. Is my memory of it. But yes, Flavien was on all our tickets. Anytime he was riding, we were using.
Okay, so it's journalism and Clever Again, right?
28, easy to remember. If it's a 28, that's me. It will not be the same as that 8 and 9 I was trying for in the Derby, where one horse gets a terrible start. Burnham Square, the 9, got caught behind the Japanese horse who was stopping to a walk at the half-mile pole. Yeah, and ended up finishing last. His claim to fame was he impeded my horse. Thank you. Go back to Japan, please.
Well done.
I was not admiring Daytona when he was stopping in front of Burnham Square.
No, absolutely. When do you, just very quickly, when does journalism, you think, make the move and Clever Again?
Clever Again, I think, is going to be in front the whole way. If not, he'll be right in the vicinity. Journalism, look for him to start getting involved. I would think on the far turn. And you can make a case, Steve, that the rider actually went a little too soon in the Derby. He's a great straightaway runner. So even if he comes into the stretch and he's 2 lengths behind, as long as he gets him out in the clear and comes running. And by the way, I was in Baltimore's Little Italy last night with a couple of buddies, and before we left, who comes in with his family? None other than Umberto Rispoli, the writer for journalism. I took that as a good sign.
That's a good sign indeed. Dick, thanks. Appreciate it.
You got it. See you, Steve.
Dick Jerardi. This half hour brought to you by Sunbury Motors, 4th Street in Sunbury. Sunbury Motors Kia, routes 11 and 15 in Hummel's Wharf.
This Memorial Day, we pause to remember the men and women who gave everything for our freedom. They didn't just fight for a country, they fought for the future. Their sacrifice is the reason we stand strong today. At Sunbury Motors Ford, we honor that spirit of resilience, the same grit that built this nation and drives us forward. And right now, we're giving you big savings on the vehicles that keep America moving. Save up to $4,399 on 32 2025 Ford Explorers, starting at just under $40,000. Save up to $5,045 on 39 2024 Ford Ford Bronco Sports, starting under $29,000. Need a truck that works as hard as you do? Check out the 2025 Ford Mavericks, delivering up to 40 miles per gallon. And these are more than just deals. They're a reflection of the strength and resilience that built this country. And that's why Ford is still standing strong after 122 years. At Sunbury Motors Ford, we're proud to be American-made, American-owned, and coming alive in 2025. Sunbury Motors Ford in the North 4th Street Auto Plaza. Online at sunburymotors.com.